Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome back to iSlam Podcast. It is I, your host, Arif Khan, and it's good to be back. I think we were on a hiatus for a few weeks, but bet not, we have a good show for you because we have some wonderful hosts. Today, we're going to go all Arab here, except myself, of course. So the first one is none other than the commish himself, Habibi.
All Arabs, I love it. Assalamu alaikum, guys.
Alaikum salam, bro. Hi, how's it going?
Alhamdulillah, how are you, brother?
Good. All right. So I don't know who's on live yet. I guess people are still joining in, but I was going to try to get people to guess, but it's all right. We'll guess the other one here. So it is none other than Mr. Omar Abdullah. Assalamu alaikum.
Salam. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no, thank you for joining, bro. Always good to have a GM. Always good to have someone who runs around the rink with a GoPro on his head.
Always good to have another Arab, actually. So,
Hey, power to the people.
So Omar, you've been in the league for a couple of seasons now. How are you enjoying it? And now you're GMing.
Yeah, second season. Definitely a privilege to go from winning the first season to being able to GM the second. Don't know too many guys who got the chance to do that. So really happy, and it's a good time. Lots of great brotherhood, and alhamdulillah, our team does a good job of getting everybody some play time and really encouraging the guys.
Mm-hmm.
We're not doing too well this season, but honestly, it's all about just having a good time. And you know what? Everybody makes the playoffs, so who knows what can happen. So we'll see.
Yeah. Habibi, you faced brother Omar here. What's your thoughts on this rising star of our league here?
just like him too much. I can't do anything about him. I mean, I remember one time I hit him by accident. I actually went up to him. I go, "So sorry, I didn't mean to do that." It just went on for like games after games. Like games after that, I was like, you know what? I promise I won't do anything. But yeah, it's always good to have Omar. Like you said, he's been here for about a couple of seasons now. So hearing it from him in terms of what the league brings outside of the sport in terms of the brotherhood, it's really nice to hear from newcomers entering the league for sure.
Yeah, and Omar has a little feisty nerve in him as well, right?
A little bit, yeah.
I definitely got into too much trouble last season.
It's all good.
Extra goons on our team this season, so they've been taking the brunt of it. So.
It's all good. It's all part of the sport.
Yeah, I think we had a comment here. Was it Sakib of all people? Sakib, what's up, bro?
Haven't heard from you.
All right, what are you wearing? What am I wearing? I'm wearing Avalanche. Well, since the Leafs are gone, I can't cheer or troll the Leafs anymore this season, at least. So I have to pick my secondary team here.
Oh, Arif, you always have something.
It's all good. All right. So today we wanted to get into. I know the last few weeks we didn't really cover the games that happened, but to be honest, I've forgotten what happened. It's been a few. But what we wanted to focus on was really just looking at the playoff format and looking at what are the matchups and what are the implications. So hopefully we can go through this. Let's see. I don't know if you guys can see properly. Let me see if I can zoom this in a little bit more without trying to hide everything. Here, maybe that'll help. Does that help a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, we can go through the colors and the jerseys. I think we pretty much can start up a conversation from what we see for sure.
All right, there we go. I think that helps a bit more.
Yeah.
Okay, so the playoffs, as we have discussed before, everyone makes it. Everyone has made it, and thank God for that rule, because otherwise, Omar and I would not be here. Both our teams sucked. I do want to thank Team Hassan for giving us the only 2 wins we've had this year. So thanks, Omar.
But you see, but there's danger with that word, because I mean, your team might have sucked in the regular season, but
Yeah.
we don't know what's going to come out tomorrow night, right? So anything can happen. So you know how it is. Playoff hockey is playoff hockey. It's a totally different gamut, right?
Yeah, for sure. So the 2 teams, Yakin and Suburb, obviously being the top teams, they've already moved on to the semifinals, right? So they're sitting. Haya and Ikhlas, they haven't gone 2 rounds; they've just gone 1. So they're already at the quarterfinals, waiting for the winner of Rida and Ihsan. And on the second one is Iman and Taqwa. So the first one, Rida and Ihsan, I believe both of you guys are on each of those teams, right?
We are respectfully correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let me throw it to the newbie here, Omar. What's your first? Tell me about your season in a snapshot, and what do you have to do to beat Rida?
So we've definitely had struggles with chemistry. We don't really know what kind of team we are. I think a lot of other teams do a lot of run and dump or run and shoot, and we're kind of stuck in between those two styles. And I think all teams in Islam really struggle with kind of blue line to blue line neutral zone territory, getting the ball out of the zone and then transitioning into the offensive zone. But our team is just really, really struggling in that zone. And I think that's where we've struggled against Rida. We've played you guys twice, I think. And I think the second game, we definitely played you guys a lot better. But that top line of yours, I think it might be actually the second line. It's Wakar's line. That's a tough line to keep down. They run, they are physical, and they're hard to keep quiet. So I think if we can shut that line down, I don't remember the first line being too much of a threat. And, Habibi's on the third line, I think. So just give him the ball, he'll turn it over, and that's all we need.
That's all you need to do. Just wait for me. And the ironic part is, me and Dawood have a running joke that every time that I'm on a draw with him, I'm like, Dawood, just giving you a little piece of advice. I'm the third line. You're supposed to score on me. So he knows that. And the ironic part is Wakar is not actually on the second line, but we'll leave it at that. But that is the running joke between Dawood and I, is every time that he sees me, and yeah, I am noted to be on the third line most of the time. And if I am facing him, I tell him, I go, Dawood, this is your chance. You're supposed to score. But anyways, I'll leave that with that.
Habibi, weren't you playing D? Last time I played you guys,
So
I found you there in the corner. I'm like, what the hell are you doing there in this zone?
Yeah, so the last, not to divulge, too much from our team, but
Please do.
But I will, the last couple of games, because of player personnel and shortages and stuff like that, we have mixed up the lines a little bit, and it has worked, to our advantage, in the sense of just allowing guys to play more, and just tackling what Omar was saying, just really establishing what our strength is and identifying what our team really is, because on our team we actually do have a lot of forwards, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of teams, teams in Iceland do struggle with that. So just putting, just relying on your GMs really to really, put the players where they need to be, especially when there's a shortage of players, or maybe there's a plethora of players, just to kind of juggle it here and there. But I'm obviously a forward. I've been playing forward for most of my life, but playing D is also fun too. But I don't think I'll say too much about where. It's not really about me, like Gamba said. It's the other guys you really got to worry about. But at the end of the day, we'll just we're putting me on D was just one of those things, as Omar was saying, in terms of like just finding our true identity. That's it.
Yeah, and I like that plethora of options. Like Habibi's got the dictionary and thesaurus here tonight.
I'm trying.
So Omar, let me ask something here. So this, the way the format is, right? You got to play Rida, and it's one game elimination, and then whoever wins has to then go play Haya, also, which is one game elimination. So, do you conserve energy in the first one, or do you go all out and then just hope for the best?
I think we got to just go all out. We had one really good game early in the season. I think it was our third or fourth. It's where we picked up our first win. And it was just, we went out there and we just pounded the floor. And like Habib was saying, it's playoff hockey. You don't really know what happens. And honestly, it's been a great season. The fact that everybody's been very competitive. There's no team that's completely getting, we're not losing games by 5 goals. We're losing them by 1. We're getting ties. We're close. You get a couple of bounces, a couple of balls start going your way, and anything can really happen. So I think you got to just go out there and work like dogs. And that's something we struggle to do. Sometimes we're a little bit scared. We're a little bit weak on the boards. Balls don't get out when they should be. And that costs us the game, right? Whenever you have 3-4 chances to get the ball out and you can't, not only are you giving them more scoring opportunities, you're also just getting your guys super tired. So I think if we just go out there and hustle and work really hard, I think we can steal it honestly from Rida. I think we tied the last game and we lost by 1 goal in the first one. Honestly, something we've struggled with all season is just managing first lines.
Mm.
The opponent's first line is just dominating us and getting chances, and our first line is just out there, not like you said, can't not even scoring on the third line.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because we don't have that mesh yet. We don't have that chemistry. We don't have that personality amongst every line. I think good teams, what they do really well, what we did on Yakin last season was, your first line, you've got guys who are getting the balls deep. They're maybe running. And the second line maybe is a bit more of a playmaking line. And your third line is just grinders or they're more defensive orientated. And having that personality means you can set up plays, you can set up situations, you can start to line match, and okay, well, this team's got, this line or these couple of guys that we got to watch out for on the point. But I think we haven't been able to find that rhythm. And also, like every team faces, when you don't get guys coming out, you don't get guys responding to polls, and it's tough to start making stuff on the fly. We've been doing okay with what we got, and I really think we've meshed the last couple of games.
Yeah.
Really started to shine. But I think this win comes from us really keeping a tight grasp on that Waqar line. He's a great player, mashallah, and I think he can turn the game around for Rida. So that's somebody we got to keep on watch.
No, makes sense.
Yeah, I think the team that wants it more will win, and that not only goes for our matchup, but it's any team. It's literally like when Ahmed says grind hard, play like dogs or whatever, and he's absolutely right. When it comes to playoff hockey, you literally have to go all out, and it literally is the team that wants it more will win.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's move on to the next matchup here of the evening.
Now, this is a dangerous matchup. This one's going to be real interesting to hear your insight, Arif, because this one is one I will definitely want to watch.
All right, well, you know what? Since you're on it, let's hear your take on it first.
Well, my take, to be honest with you, and is Taqwa. Like I've always said, your team Taqwa is not the team that reflects the regular season. There's no way that a team as stacked as your team ended up with the record that it has. And it's like we said before, if there's any time to shine, it's in the playoffs. I think your team is built for that. I think you guys have the veteran guys, and if there's any team that I personally did not want to face, it would be you guys, because if there's anything about waking up the sleeping giant, it's you guys. However, there's a team like Iman. Iman already has established that identity. They already know who they are, which is one step up from you guys. They've already identified where they are. They've already clicked. They literally have the strongest D core in all of Iceland right now, because they pretty much have a lot of D-men. You go through Zaidi, Omar, like everyone, and just like their top line and their GMs, they found a way to gel. And the good thing about Iman is they've done it, and they've done it consistently all the way to the end of the playoffs. You guys are a dark horse, but a dangerous dark horse, because you guys are supposed to explode, and if there's any time to do that, it really is now. So that's really what I'm looking forward to in this matchup, and that's just the way I see it from the outside looking in.
I mean, looking at Iman's roster here, I mean, they're no slouch either. I mean,
Omar absolutely
Hussein, right? Omar Hussein and Hussein Hamad, he's really stepped up. Right from
that's another Arab we have. Sorry, Alma.
There you go. So he's stepped up. He has 5 goals, 5 assists. I think they're playing him forward, and I'm really happy because I've played with Hussein for many years in other leagues, and I'm really glad to see that he's coming back from a few tough seasons. And of course, you have Altaf. So Omar, I know you played with Altaf last year, right? And you guys did pretty well. What's your take on him?
Yeah, he got us the clinching goal in overtime against I think it was against Taqwa in the semifinals. I think. I was screening, so I will take all the glory for that goal. But he's one of those guys that he'll have a bad game, two really bad periods. I guess we only played 2 periods, but a period and a half that's bad, and all of a sudden he'll just click and he'll just put 2 away really quickly. So it's someone that you have to stay after. And he's sneaky. He'll go behind, behind defense. He'll do cuts. He'll go in the slot, and he doesn't really have like that amazing shot that's going to go bar down from the point, but he can place the ball well, and he knows his moments. And it's another one of those guys that just really good down low, really good position wise, protects the ball, opens up shooting, like passing opportunities for his teammates, and is definitely somebody you don't want to just kind of forget about. You know, thankfully he wears the different color shoes.
That's what I was about to say. You can't miss him. He's got different colors.
Can't miss him. Yeah.
Well, one thing I like, or not like, but the word that I use for guys like Altaf, and there's a few of them in the league, is relentless.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, and not to use a crude analogy, but basically a dog chasing after someone with a stake around their neck. Right. He just won't let go. Even if you go around the net, go in the corner, you look behind, and he's still on you. Right.
Yeah.
And then he gets a lot of opportunities that he creates.
And he's fast.
He's very fast. Yeah. Now, the other piece that we know about playoff games is goalies. Goalies can steal series. They can steal the entire cup sometimes, right? How's Mufti been for you this year?
Mufti doesn't play on either team, I think.
No? I was looking at the...
I think Mufti plays for Iman, I think, right?
Oh, sorry, Iman. Yeah. I'm sorry. I was because we were talking about the.
So talking about goalies on your perspective, how is Mufti doing for Iman? What do you have to do for Taqwa to make sure you get some?
Sorry. Like I'm looking at this and I'm talking about something else.
That's okay.
But yeah. Speaking of goalies, right? Like let's look at the goalies. So you have Khalid Mufti here. He's usually, regardless of what the season looks like, he comes out in the playoffs all the time.
Yeah, he does.
Right?
Yeah.
When he gets into the zone, it's very hard to get one past him. On our end, we've already made a trade for a goalie this year. We had Musa, and we traded him, and Josefa is now in, and he's played really well for us because the last two games we are undefeated. So I might be getting my signals crossed today, but he's played really well for us. So on our team, as you were saying, Habibi, what do we have to do? Our guys, we have like a lot of goal scorers, right? Our team is built for scoring, yet we are one of the lowest, if not the lowest scoring team in the league, which is crazy, right? So I think for us, our top scorers need to score.
Absolutely.
And then goalie, of course we need some big saves, but if we can't score more than 2 goals per game or 1 goal per game, the goalie is not going to bail us out on that.
Yeah, and especially like you said, with a guy like Mufti and that, you and I we've played with Mufti for many years and many tournaments, and just in Iceland alone, he is one of those goalies that will definitely step it up in the playoffs. So if you don't challenge him early, I mean, you're just gonna get yourself into a deeper hole, because Mufti, and again, we talked about Iman's defense. They are definitely the most stifless defense that we have right now. Just getting past that defense, along with Mufti and net, I think for you guys, you really have to, like you said, rely on those top scorers. Make sure that they need to do what they do, because Iman has proven throughout their season that they are also relentless, and they also do have that scoring capacity. But again, even more important, they do have defense and goalie, and a goalie that can definitely take it to the next step for sure.
Yep.
So Mufti is he's actually playing for Isna Falcon, so the team that I'm coaching for Salam Cup.
Oh, okay.
And so we ran a practice last Friday, and he's looking good, man.
I don't want to hear that.
He's in tip-top shape, mashallah. He's looking really good. We were doing a lot of drills, and I was worried that he wasn't going to be able to get up and down really quickly. But we were doing, tipping drills, and he kept up more than his fair share. So I think you guys are going to have a lot of trouble. I think he's a little bit weak, right about the knee, outside pads, just because he likes to stay a little bit more upright. But that's really his only spot that you're going to score goals. So
yeah. Even the games we played against him in the regular season, there was 2 saves he made, just ridiculous. Like it was a guaranteed goal, and somehow he still saved it.
He still got it. He still got it for sure.
He's consistent.
Yeah, like, and Habib, like in our league, guys like Mufti, Ali Khwaja, they're not over the hill. They're still competing. They're still top goalies, right?
They've been around. They've been around the business for over 20 years, and then mashallah, they still got it. And Mufti is definitely one of those characters that he could still play another 10, 15 years if he wanted to.
Yep. All right. So now let's say that one of you guys win, and now you're facing Haya. So I'm not gonna ask
I gotta face another Arab. That's what I need to do.
I'm not gonna say who's gonna win amongst you two, because obviously you're gonna say your own teams. But regardless of who goes and faces Haya, what do you guys have to do to beat a team like Haya? Omar.
Honestly, I think they're going to be in a worse position than either of us. They're going to be coming off of a week break. They're going to be sitting there nice and cold, and we're going to hopefully be coming out fired up and off of a big win. Both of our teams want that win, so I think honestly we're going to bring a lot of energy, and it's just all about keeping on top of that energy. Probably the first goal or two is going to really define the way that game goes.
Mm-hmm.
For both our teams, like Rida and Hassan, if we can score early, I think, keep the guys fired up and excited. And like we were talking about, it does not matter talent if your guys are just on that night. And if you can keep that energy, keep that atmosphere, Hayas, I don't think is a team that can really stop in the way of that unless they get a quick one right away. I think it's going to be tough for them.
But again, we're talking about goalies. They got Adam Sayed in that, and Adam Sayed, like there's no telling what. I mean, I've had the opportunity to play with him last season. I know that he's definitely excelled in every category when it comes to goalie statistics, and just talking about that kid in that in terms of like what he can do in terms of like at that, because he actually, I think last year in the finals he played for us, so he's got the tenacity in terms of like stepping up when games actually do matter. But again, look at the contingency that they have on their team. They got Hamoudi, Akib, Sufyan, Luke, what's that kid's name, Yusuf. So they and obviously Abdullah, like they got the players that can do what they need to do. And Abdullah and Ahmad, I'm just gonna just not challenge you, but just kind of look at it from the other perspective too. Coming off cold is not really cold from their perspective because they're just coming off that one game. But for one of us, for Rida, if we excel, we're still waiting for that 1 hour, while they're just coming in for their first game. So I don't think that they're coming in cold. There could be coming in probably, if anything, with a stronger mindset. Depends on which way you look at it. But I do agree with you. Like, well, obviously the momentum and the adrenaline will obviously be coming a little bit more for us, but we're still coming off that 1 hour wait. But in order, what we need to do in terms of like winning against Haya, is exactly what we would have done against Hassan, or what Hassan would have done against Rida. To be honest with you, is just continue with that tenacity, whatever team wins. And I'm sure if both teams come with that same energy that they did in that game one, and continue it forward to the next game, it's like we said before, the team that wants it more will win.
So I really think for our team, because we've been so hungry for wins this season, I think we're gonna be able to stay hot. I think that hour is not going to matter much, and I know my game plan going in is off the face off, every start play, every neutral zone play, ball down deep, and then just chase it like crazy. Really, just try to get them on the back heel right away. You can spend the first 2-3 minutes in their half. I think that can really set a tone for the whole game. And then
what you described,
that's probably that's our game plan too. So I mean,
what you're describing is also what they refer to as a high hustle. So Omar, you gotta hustlers.
Yeah, that's our thing. We gotta get some hustlers going. We've definitely got the guys that can hustle, but it's about putting them on the right lines, right? Putting them with guys that are gonna be able to get turnovers. If someone's chasing down deep, are they paired up with guys that know where to stand to intercept passes, to make that defense on the other team try to air the ball out, and then it can be picked off. Some teams only really have guys who can chase, and as long as you make one move, you can make a pass and break out of the zone. It's about, can you get that ball down deep? Can you force a play? Can you force an error? And then can you turn that into a possession that goes into a shot or an offensive opportunity?
We have a comment here saying that only so much gas a car can hold. Rida,
I agree.
Will eventually run out.
It's actually a true statement. You can't argue that. I mean, it is true. but again, the statement still stands: the team that wants it more will win.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be a tougher road for for myself and for Brother Ahmad. But again, like it literally come. I mean, playoff game. We've all played playoff games. We've been
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
this for a long time. It's a different beast. We've all played tournaments. It's just totally different. But the comment still stands. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. But I still made it to Brampton on like on empty from Ajax. So I mean, like I still had it. I mean, it was a tough battle, but I still made it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I
We're
mean? Well,
gonna
my wife will kill me that I did it, but I mean, I still did it. You know what I mean?
Listen, we can't talk about Haya this year, especially without mentioning one name, which is Yusuf Siddiqui.
Yeah,
Mashallah, this brother has seemingly come out of nowhere, and he's been dominating. 16 points, 8 goals, 8 assists.
absolutely.
He
He's
just personifies the Haya hustle and then some. So we're talking about this guy, and you still have Lukman, Akib, Suf, all these guys on the other
Moody.
line, right? Hamoudi, of course, and that'd also be fun to watch you and Hamoudi go at it too. But Omar, if you're playing D, right, a lot of the games, or if not
yeah,
most,
I've been
all
playing
of
D
them.
this season.
How do you control a guy like Yusuf who has skill and a lot of speed?
I think a lot of what makes the top guys in Iceland successful is the high slot. You know, they get the ball down deep, then they circle up to the high slot and take shots from that top of the circle, upper part of
Yeah,
the circle. That's what really is proven to work in our league. And I think that's why we've suffered is that we don't take advantage of that. We try to make plays from behind the net or centering passes. So we've got to force guys to play down in the corner or force them to try to make a centering pass. Most of the time, you're going to have a deflection or a bad pass. We just can't afford to let guys like Yusuf in the high slot with this much room between him and the next guy, whoever's defending him. If you can get that shot off and you're running, laterally, it's really tough for a goalie to be able to track consistently as you pass through that high slot
Mhm.
zone.
I just hope your team has figured it out by now. That's it. 'Cause
Oh man, we still
you
haven't.
only have 24 hours to figure it out, brother.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna carbo load the biryani, so we're just gonna have energy the whole time.
La hawla.
There you go. All right. So the other on the other side, same thing, right? You have Ikhlas who will be waiting for the winner of Iman and Taqwa. And regardless of who wins from those two teams, what does one have to do to beat Ikhlas? Because they got some talented guys there too. Like Hamza and
Very talented
Wadi.
guys, and a very talented goalie as well.
So if what's your advice to either Iman or Taqwa when they face Ikhlas?
Well, I mean, Ikhlas is a mix of youth and veteran. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? So take that as you may. Taqwa and Iman are a little bit younger, maybe ish. So you might want to use that to your advantage. But again, like when you got a goalie like Khwaja in net, I mean, and that's playoff Khwaja that you're getting. So,
Yeah.
and again, to the comment that Ahmed was talking about too, like you really got to make sure your gas is full in that second game. Because when you got Hamza Chaudhry on that line, you got RC and you got that top contingent, and you got Ali Wadi. Everybody needs a Wadi. Um, I mean, there's there's nothing that could stop the clause. You really have to be on your A game. That's why I'm really. I mean, I'm obviously zoned into our bracket, but your bracket, like in terms of what's going on the other the other end, it's going to be really interesting to see what comes out of there because it's really those three teams that we're talking about between Yaman, Taqwa, and Akhlas, really strong teams. Probably could have done or should have done better
Mhm.
in the regular season, but all those three teams that we just mentioned are teams that could have been and should have been maybe higher than where they ended up. So if there's any time for those three teams to shine,
Yeah.
it's probably now.
So Omar, if you're Ikhlas and you're waiting, um, what's the better matchup for Ikhlas for them
Ah,
to face?
question.
You know what? I like Taqwa because they have a habit of not cycling lines and they get tired. They, like you said, they have that offensive capability, but if you can wear
That's
them
it.
down,
It doesn't stop you on that.
and then you've got Quadja and Ned who can make good saves. So as long as you're taking away really high chance, rebounds and whatever, the rest he can stop. So you're really focusing. You're hoping that that first team Iman really hammers them down and gets them tired up. and then try to run them out. Make them run, make them have to change, force out that that back half who is probably going to be a little bit more colder having sat, and then those top guys they're not going to have that extra little burst of energy that can get them into those high chance scoring areas, and then just box them out. Don't let them anywhere near the slot. Don't let them have any cheap backdoor goals or anything like that, because they've got guys who can pass. They've got guys who can move the ball really well. They can make passes backdoor. And as long as Khawaja's not facing that, he's going to stay solid, and you're going to keep the goals low, and then it's just about putting a few past on the other end. So
and you and I we play against Khawaja all the time on Sundays, right? And we know that he's such a solid goalie that if you give him a chance to set up, he's going to stop it. And you make a great point, which is Takwa. A lot of our goals, or the very few goals we have, a lot of times it's we're trying to make it too pretty. Right.
Yeah,
and when you're trying to make it too pretty, Khawaja is going to stop them.
Yeah.
Where Khawaja typically lets in goals is somebody throws one from the corner, hits the foot, bounces out, or get you know what I mean? It's like those garbage goals. And Takwa doesn't seem to want to score garbage goals. It's pretty goals or no goals.
No.
Well answered for sure.
Yeah. When you have top quality guys, right, that's the way they play. But then the issue is you're not playing against top quality guys. So sometimes you're thinking, I'm going to make this pass and do this. I'm going to pull this guy over. Well, you've got guys who haven't been playing too long, and they're not really predictable. They're more operating on just their instincts. So they do something weird. They go the wrong way. They don't even know what they're doing, but they end up blocking a pass.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to play that high tier hockey that you're wanting to play, because the other team is just so chaotic. And I think that's what, honestly, the top teams in Iceland don't win, because they're really perfect together. They just have a mesh of chaos that can take advantage of the other team. And then they're, like we were saying, relentless. The teams that win are the ones that run. It's a running game at the end of the day. Ball hockey is a game about running, especially on that smaller rink. It's about who can get to those balls first, those 50-50s. So
controlled chaos. That's the game of Iceland hockey.
Well said.
All right. So that's enough for those three teams. Meanwhile, you have Yakin and Sabr, who are not going to be playing this week. They're going to be waiting and watching, and probably hoping that those three teams just beat the crap out of each other. Maybe some people get injured, people take suspensions, whatever it takes. And then Yakin will face either one of you two or Haya. Talk to me about where how Yakin landed into the semifinals like this, getting the bye. What kind of season they had? Habib, I'm going to start with you on this one.
I mean, they had a great season. I mean, I don't know how to answer it better than that. I mean, they were a dark horse, obviously, but they weren't a dark horse because they do have a contingent of players.
All the Malton guys, right? MP,
Malton players. So they've all played with each other for a very long time, and of course, I'm a fan of MP, and MP is MP. Like, he can take a team and kind of like take it where it needs to be, and I think that's what he's done with this team. Yakin is not a surprise, to be honest with you. They ended up on that top three, and I think we've talked about these guys from the very, very beginning. They are not a team that should not be where they ended up. Sabr obviously is a team that's also constructed in the same manner. I was surprised to go to see how far deep that they got in, like in terms of being first overall. But again, they got a contingent of GMs where all the players have bought into their system, and it's pretty much worked for them. So I don't think there's any surprises with with those two teams. I think, to be honest with you, the surprises are the bottom teams, where the bottom teams I would have felt probably should have gone higher. Including my team, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, it's what Omar is saying. It's organized chaos, right? So it's all those 50-50 and, whatever happens. But in terms of answering your questions, I don't think there's any surprise to see Yakin ending up where they ended up, or even Sabr ending up where they ended up. Actually, maybe Sabr a little bit more, but Yakin is there. But Sabr, they got Yep Kapoor in net. So, I mean.
That's a big one, right? Now here's one thing though, and I'm gonna ask Omar this, which is I'm just looking at the standings here, and in the standings you can see Yakin is going into the playoffs with 2 wins in a row, whereas Sabr, even though they went undefeated all season, they're going in with 3 losses. So even though they're on top because of what they did early in the season, both teams are going in two opposite directions going into the playoffs. How important is momentum going into the playoffs, or does it not matter that much?
Momentum's huge, but I honestly think because it's such a big gap between weeks. I can speak for Yakin and my team last season. We won a lot of the early games. We were undefeated for about, I think, 6 or 7 games, and then we lost the last 3 or 4, or we didn't do too well as expected. So you have that week to reset, and then those teams have 2 weeks to reset, and now it's going to be 3. So I don't think they're really thinking about it. And when you have that proven track record, we can win. We have won. We're first in standings. You don't get so shaken up. If you're a middle of the pack team and you're coming off of a 3-win series, that can be really good. Like you guys talk about having 2 wins coming into the playoffs, that can be a difference maker. For us, I think we had a tie, a loss by 1 goal, or a tie, a win, and then a loss. So that has really shaken our confidence because we thought we had just finally gotten our groove after that tie and then into a win. So that thing for us is a lot more volatile. But if you're a team that's proven that you can be top of the season, then it's all about just executing. And I think they had a guy or 2 injured. I think I saw guys on the bench for so if those guys are back and healthy, that might have been a part of their core. But honestly, like with Sabor and Yakin, the teams that do well, they've got that one guy who can really move that ball. And for Yakin, it's MP, and for Sabor, it's Mohib. Those guys, they can move the ball around, they can define a line by themselves, and they can set the tone so quickly for who's in control of the ball and who's in control of the game. If a team wants to beat them, they've got to shut those guys down. Their offense is built around those players. Those players are going to go shine and create problems, and they're going to grind your defense down. They're going to hold the ball and have possessions as if it's a penalty kill every single game. If you can find a way to disrupt those 2 players, that rest of the team starts to look a lot more frail, I think. Both of those teams.
Yep.
So there's a good question here from Mobina. I'm going to ask Bibi to tackle this one. And the question basically, it's basically saying, how tough is it for teams like Haya and Ikhlas, who are going to be sitting around, and even Yakin and Sabr for that matter, but especially Haya and Ikhlas, who are going to be sitting around not knowing who they're facing. Because teams like Rida, Ehsan, and Mantakwa, we already know who we're facing. We've known for a few weeks now. We can plan accordingly. Does Haya focus on who their opponent is, or do they have focus on what their own team needs to do?
So I've always lived by this motto: the only person you can control is yourself, and that goes with anything, and pretty much like in anything that you do. So
That and trust the process, right? Those are your 2 mantras.
and well, trust the process as well. But at the end of the day, the only team that you really have control over is yourself. So just going back to what Amar was saying in terms of like identifying yourself, identifying and knowing why you are where you are. How did you get there? I mean, you are there obviously for a reason, because you've already identified a lot quicker than the other teams that the type of team that you become. So if you continue maintaining that system in terms of like buying to the system, because obviously that system has worked for you, then just it doesn't matter who you face, because at the end of the day, you've already faced that team twice anyhow. Whether you faced Ahsan or Redla, because you faced pretty much every team twice based on the season structure, right? So it really is really controlling yourself, really identifying on your style of play and just playing your style of hockey. Obviously, like going to what Amar was saying, every team has that one guy that will tear and wear down your defense, and Rada obviously has Wakar, and obviously like Hassan has the Dawoods, the Casantinis, and Omar in terms of like what they are. So they know that going in, they know that they're obviously going to face the Wakars of the world or the Casatinis of the world. So they already know that it's going to be one of them. But if they go in with the mindset in terms of like playing their style of hockey, which is the reason why they ended up where they were, then I think that should do well for them.
Yeah, well said. Omar, I'll leave a last one for you. So it looks like, based on how the playoff structure is, Rida Ehsan will not play Iman and Takwa unless either of those teams end up in the finals, right? Are you happy not to have to face some of these other teams?
Takwa is one I wouldn't want to play. They can just like we were saying, they're a team that on paper should score lots of goals, and they
Yeah.
haven't been. So you got to wonder, is that going to start all of a sudden, or is that going to, are they just not going to wake up? So if they wake up in the playoffs, that's going to be tough. I think once they get their mojo and get that confidence boost, they're going to be tough. Ikhlas, Kawaja in the back is tough. I think he's one of those goalies that it's funny. Sometimes you have goalies who they look really small in net, and then they'll make you miss the net because you're trying to pick the perfect corner. And then you have goalies like Mufti and Kawaja and Kapoor as well, who are so solid top and bottom. They've got really good form that you just don't even see anything open. So you're just shooting it, at their chest. And so I think with Kawaja, he stops a lot of our players because of that. They don't see anything open. They just shoot it into him. And then he's fantastic at smothering the ball. He's got those nice hard pads that he can kick that ball out far too. So rebounds are rare to come by, in the crease. So that's a team that I would rather not face as well.
Yeah. On Kawaja, I would also say that knowing him for as long as I have, one thing he also does is he'll give you a look.
Yes.
Right? He'll give you the glove side,
and then
he'll just take it away, right?
Yep.
So he's very tricksy like that.
And that's what high class goalies do. You know your weakness, and Kapoor is fantastic at this. If you ever seen Kapoor save a ball, he's like 5 feet out of his net. He comes out so far because he knows he's a bit of a smaller goalie. Okay, I've got to take those angles away. And then he's a fantastic rebound controller. It's so many times you'll shoot at him and you're okay. Here comes a meatball, right? Here comes a backdoor little gift for us. And because he's so far out, right? Anything that drops by his feet, you can just tap into an empty net. But he's so good at controlling that ball. And he knows great goalies know what they're weak at. Kapoor knows he can't sit low in his net. Kawaja knows that he's got that right blocker, that kind of up near his shoulder, which is, to be honest, it's every goalie's weakness there. But I think he's got a bad shoulder. So he takes that away from you. He gives you that glove and he gives you that lower pad. But he's fantastic, mashallah, at getting low and flashing the glove out. So he'll bait you into it every time. So you almost want to just go for what he's not giving you, hoping that he's gonna bite the other way.
Yeah, but now he's got you thinking, right?
It's the GoPro. It's the GoPro. That's what it is. He watches the footage after every game.
Yeah. We had one interaction. I was asking him, there's a certain shot that goes, if you're a normal goalie, so your glove is your left, your blocker's in your right by your bottom right toe is out on the outside of your toe is almost impossible to stop because you can't get your stick out far enough.
Yeah.
It's very hard to just kick your foot laterally a little bit. So I was asking him, how do you cover that? And he said, I'll cheat and I'll overcompensate so that's covered. And then he also goes, he goes to me, he goes, exactly where they're shooting though. So they're going to go low or high. So you can just cover that. And I was like, yeah, for sure, man. And I've never done that in my life, right? You just hope and stand in the middle of the ball and you kind of hope it hits you.
Yeah.
So he's got that game IQ. He knows his players. He knows what guys are going to shoot where. He watches a lot of those games. He's like we were saying, he's been playing a long time. So he knows where people are shooting. Yep. And he compensates for it.
So last question about goalies for Habibi real quick. I understand your goalie Shiraz, right?
Mm-hmm.
Habibi. Rumor has it that he's injured and he won't be playing. Can you confirm or deny that? And if that's the case, what is the rule for goalie replacements?
So the GMs are very well versed in that rule. So I'll leave that for the GMs. I run the league, not the teams, but the GMs have been working out in the back end, and I'm sure that they figured it out on their own.
Okay. Well, either way, we wish him the best of healing and recovery. It sucks that you work so hard, and when it comes to the playoffs, you can't play. I know him; he would absolutely play.
100%.
Able to play, right? Even 1%. He would.
But I'll answer that game, which will go to a shootout. I think your game will go to a shootout for sure.
Our one.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see about that.
0-0 shootout or a couple of goals shootout?
I think it's going to be a couple of goals shootout. This one's good. I just can't. I mean, this one's. I just think it's going to be fun to watch. That's it.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. We're already.
I do have an announcement though.
Yeah, 45 minutes, and I think we've covered everything. And I wanted to give Habibi a little time for his quick announcement. So go for it.
Yeah, it's not anything other than. Tomorrow there will be a soccer tournament that will be that will be going on at the hangar tomorrow.
Mhm.
So what that means basically for us is because the spectators that are enjoying the soccer tournament tomorrow, it is a paid event for them. So the main entrance at the hangar will not be open for us, but we will be using the back entrance at the back where the back entrance is, where the big
Yeah,
garage doors are.
I know.
So for those players that have been similar to how we were signing in during the COVID era, I will set up the table at the back there. So the sign up table will be done from the back and not the front. So we will be sending a message to the GMs, obviously, and obviously through all our social
Yeah.
media channels that
Uh,
just to be aware that the entrance for the rink tomorrow will not be from the main entrance, but will be from the back and
if
chocolate.
there's soccer going on, how about access to the lockers?
Yeah, so the change rooms will be available. They will be available again through the close side, like the close side of the rink path, as
Yep.
opposed to the far side of the rink path.
Okay.
So I will, we'll provide signage in terms of like access to the lockers.
Sure.
Access to the lockers doesn't change for us. Access to the rink doesn't change for us. The
Mhm.
only thing that changes is just the entrance to the rink will be from the back.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for joining, Omar, Habibi. Omar, as the guest, I'll give you the last word here. Any thoughts for tomorrow?
Exciting. Looking forward to it. I think there's going to be a couple of guys late, and that might change the whole dynamic. It's going to be Friday. It's going to be busy. So thanks for having me, and looking forward to be back.
Yeah. So, hey, listen, you are welcome anytime here. In fact, I encourage it. So, inshallah,
Looking
we'll see
forward to it.
everyone tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.